Yeah. So, all righty. Well, welcome to Black Love today, Toni Forge.
Yay, Black Love!
Yes, I appreciate you. So, first things first, give us an introduction. Who's Toni
Okay.
Forge?
My name is Toni Forge. I am a almost 30-year attorney here in Los Angeles. I started off with corporate and litigation, and just in 2016 moved into cannabis law. I have my own cannabis consulting firm, and so that has been a strange but fun transition. And I was telling Daryl before I got on camera, originally from Compton, born and raised, and really excited to be on the show and talk all things Black love, but really all things that Black lovers should do when they're either married or when they're thinking about living together. So we're going to have a lively discussion about that.
Excellent, excellent. So, first things first, tell
Sure.
me, Toni, what does Black love mean to you?
For me, it's not a meme. My pet peeve is looking at those memes or TikTok where the guy is washing the chick's hair and that's Black love and everything else. And for me, Black love is longevity and it's not a meme. It is, we are people that historically have been through a lot. And for me, my first images of Black love as a young woman where my mother taught me about my heritage through flashcards and I through books, everything. That was her job to make sure I knew about my Blackness. And when she would show me slave pictures and Black women cleaning the wounds of the whip from of their Black men, that's what I saw as Black love.
Yes.
And so for me, it's just the caring of both of you psychologically, emotionally, physically, everything to get through this life. And we get through it. We don't walk through it effortlessly like some other cultures do. We have to get through. And it's that support. It goes both ways. The support of the love of our Blackness bringing us through and being a successful couple.
That's powerful. And not for nothing, I'm not just saying this to say it, but it's a beautiful situation when you can have an intelligent Black person talk about Black love, because then you don't just get the content of a meme.
Yeah, yeah, because that's really not what love is all about. As you and I know, it's the daily shit you got to get through, right? It
Yes.
is how do we coexist together and not kill each other because we're both two independent people trying to compromise and work as one. And it's that compromise that's so difficult to do because that's based on the history and the baggage that we bring, right? And
Yes.
so if I bring the baggage, and I did this for a long time because that's what I learned from my mom, is to stay planted in my way. And I'm not going to move from this. Then how do we move into a space of compromise and togetherness? And through a lot of years of therapy, my therapist would say to me, what is it serving you, that position? How is that serving you? Just standing there in that position that just to prove that you're right, how is that serving you? And it really doesn't. And I saw it with my mom, the person who taught me that, how it never served her. But she didn't want to change from that position. She was like, I'm right, I'm staying right, to hell with everybody else.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you know better, you do better. So I
How about
have
that?
hopefully done better by really challenging myself to get out of just sticking with my position.
Well, doing that alone is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. As a Black woman in America, the last 50 years have
Mhm.
not been kind, uh,
Yes.
particularly to our relationships, because so much propaganda has come in from outside to the Black woman to cause the Black woman to look at Black men crazy. So,
Hmm.
as an attorney, I'm going to ask you a question about one piece of propaganda that isn't even 10 years old yet.
Okay.
So, for 40 years, we had to hear sisters say, I'm independent, I'm strong, I'm black, I don't need anybody, I don't need anything, I can do it on my own.
Mhm.
But then over the last 10 years, we've been hearing, I need a provider, which is psychotic because that means that they don't want to work. And these aren't like 20-year-old cutie pies who want to
Mhm.
get pregnant. These are
Mhm.
women in their 40s and 50s.
We
So,
tired. We tired.
but aren't we all? And
Yes.
yeah. And so the question becomes, how are these women thinking that they're going to navigate their way into a relationship where at 40, 50, even 60, you're not working and the man is just going to absorb everything? Like, what are the legal ramifications of a stupid man who, I mean, a man in love who, who
You are
wants to,
so shady.
well, you know,
I
I'm not
love
shy.
it.
I'm not shy, and I like to speak my mind because I
Right.
think it's problematic if the woman doesn't want to work and has nothing to contribute. What kind of sticky wicket can that create for the man
Well,
legally?
I'm gonna answer this question twofold because you're first we're talking about black women and all of that. So I think we all want our dream list, right? If I didn't have to work and I could stay at home and have all the bills paid, that would be wonderful for me. But my grandmother always taught me you're gonna have to give up something to get something. That means, and I hope we are all adults here and can be very
Yes,
transparent. If I'm
absolutely.
sitting at home getting all my bill paid, I'm having knee pads. Okay, because I'm gonna have knee pads. I'm gonna be at that stove cooking.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
be baking. I'm gonna sit up here and have your drink when you get home. And that's the problem with women. I think that they want it, but then they don't want to put out. And girl,
Yeah,
that's dreamland. That ain't real land.
right.
So I get that. But that's not realistic. If you want your bills to be taken care of, then you know what you're going to have to do in order to have that. And if 40 and 50, girl, there's too much young coochie out there, okay? And coochie don't have the same value like it used to. I'm a particular age, so I knew when coochie had more value. It's a dime a
Yeah.
dozen. It's for a piece of gum now, okay?
Can we
So
talk? Can we talk?
yes, it doesn't have that value. It's
Yeah.
inflationary, whatever.
Well, and yeah, and that's real talk because that's the thing that confuses me because
Hmm.
if you're over 40, you remember when it just wasn't that easy to get, right? Just especially from a black woman. Black
Hmm.
women weren't just out in the streets making it happen. And I'm also going to say this, and people can be mad, but the majority of black women were so damn sweet. Kissing them would give you diabetes.
Some
Just
of us still are,
oh, no doubt, no doubt.
but I really think it is. I at this age have settled back into my femininity, right? And what I mean by that is there's no negative stigma attached to me that I take care of my man. I cook, I clean, I bring him breakfast in bed. I cook 5 days out of 7, but there's nothing that I'm losing as a result of that, right?
Yes,
I don't think that I am being passive or being played or not with women's rights. This is what I choose to do to honor my man because I know those things are important to him. He's old school. He likes a good meal when he comes home. He likes good other stuff when he comes home. So those
right.
are the things that I choose to do. And I don't think there should be a negative stigma attached to that. I think we have to get out of that, just like we got out of being a mom or a housewife. We've got to get out as a black women that stigma of it's wrong to take care of your men. It isn't.
Yeah,
You just have to find what works well for you.
that's right.
I enjoy doing certain things and certain things I don't. I hate cooking 5 days a week, but I know he likes it. And I know if I control his health, he has some health challenges. So
Mm.
I want to make sure that I control that and I cook for him so he's getting quality instead of junk. So
Well,
I
well, well. So,
have to worry about that.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound imbalanced.
No.
You're getting what you need in return.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He does a lot of very thoughtful things for me and for my family. That's really important. And I don't even know that. When my sister will call me and say, he called and he gave me some really good advice about my nephew, I appreciate that. And those are the balances that we need to look at. And everything I feel, Daryl, is always monetary because that's because of TikTok and social media shit. You know, it's my man bought me a bag. My man got me a diamond. My man got this. And what do women do? Nothing. I'm just pretty and I sit there and no, no.
Which is why it's not working. I mean, the
Yeah,
biggest thing that
yeah.
rankles my ass right now is that whole thing. You can't ask some of these women, what do you bring to the table? I am the table. No, the hell you're not. You're not the damn table.
Right. Legitimately, that's a question that everyone should ask. Men,
Yes.
women, and that's the sort of the things we're going to talk about in a moment. But I absolutely believe women should be asked, what do you bring to table? I look at that from a friendship basis. If you're not
Yes.
doing, yeah, if you're not doing shit, you don't have good conversation, you're really not stimulating me intellectually. Why do I want to be your friend?
That's right. That's
So
right.
it is women should be asked that question because now we're talking about really partnerships. And
Yes.
with a partnership, you have to ask your partner, okay, what do you bring? So
That's right.
I totally agree with that.
So,
And to answer the second part of your
sure,
question,
sure.
what I think men or people should be really cognizant of is that when you come together with someone, this is so unromantic, but this is the realities of living. You got to look at their financial and credit situation. And the reason I say that is because that first year is the best year ever. Okay. The first 6 months, everybody's in love. Everybody is being their best selves. I
That's
said you
right.
don't get the real person till after the first year because everybody's still trying to be their best selves. And so you don't want to ask those hard questions about, how do you view money? I mean, what's your take on money? How do you spend money? How do you save money? You have to know those things
That's
because,
right.
for example, Daryl, if you're moving in together, I suggest everybody be on the lease. Both of you have to have an interest in the lease or the rent or whatever, because say that you, Daryl, have the good credit and Mama Sita don't have the good credit, and you put that lease, your 2-year lease, in your name, and she decides after 7 months, I'm out of here, it's not working for me, you're responsible for that, not her.
Right.
Your name
That's
is
right.
on the lease. And let's say you bought all this furniture in anticipation that this was going to be your home with her for a period of time. And you've spent $10,000 and you were like, hey, I only bought this because you wanted that. You're on the hook, not her.
That's right.
So when you come together, you really have to come together.
Yes.
You're going to do that when you're married. All of that is inherent in the marriage. There's rights and financial responsibilities, but when you're living together, you don't have that. And so I always suggest people do a contract and say, I'm going to take the living room furniture, or we're both going to divide the expenses of the living room furniture, or put her on the lease agreement with you, because at least you have something if you need to go to small claims court or whatever to get your money. At least you have that.
That's right. That's right. And so you're saying to do that if
Mm-hmm.
you're cohabitating to make sure you don't just jump in, that you actually get an agreement. Now, do you have to go and get an attorney to do that, or can you
No,
find a?
you can write that up, and I would also get it notarized, because we see people go into court and say that's not my signature. And when you get a notary, all the notary is doing is saying, yep, the ID, this is Toni Forge, right? And so then you're not going to have that later excuse of, oh, I didn't sign it, it wasn't me, I don't know who signed it. But yeah, you can do it on a piece of paper. It can be very informal, but I really do want to caution people of definitely coming up with some type of agreement about how they're going to do certain things. And the same thing with credit cards. I am going to tell you, do not do this. You know, you'll have an American Express card, Daryl, and they'll ask you if you want another card, right? And you know, oh, my girl, you know, she really don't have good credit, so I'm gonna give you another card. Give her a card, and she keeps charging. You responsible for that,
Right. That's
okay?
right.
And
Yeah.
so you have got to really ask those very uncomfortable questions about finances. And
Yeah.
I don't know why they are, but they are. And if you're a long term couple, I'm a long term couple, but the next question is going to have to be, okay, what does your retirement look like? How are we
Mm.
preparing to retire together? Are
Mm.
we going to do that? How are we setting that up? You know, there's marriage is not an option for me at this point in my life. I've been with my partner for almost 18 years. I don't need to be married. Okay. I've done every single vow under the sun, sickness, health, rich or poor. I don't need a piece of paper.
Right.
But, you know, for those people who absolutely feel like me, now you have to have the conversation of retirement, all of that. There's no, what do people think that after 10 years, they're automatically married in California? I forget the name of it because
The
it's,
common law, the
yeah, that's
palimony.
urban legend. No, you're not. And so you still need to really think about, you know, your finances, even if you're in a long-term relationship. What's that going to look like? Because, you know, people's retirement, pension, all of those things you really need to discuss. Inheritance, gifts that you get, you need to discuss all those things.
Right. Right. And children, you know.
Children. And, you know, one thing we don't talk about, Daryl, that we really should, especially here in California, that the law looks that you can be a presumed father. And not the, I'm not talking about a biological father, because here you can have more than one father. But say that you're moving with a woman and she has a 1 year old, and you're the only father figure this woman, this child is known for years, and then you guys break up year 7, and then the wife, or excuse me, the girlfriend contacts you and says, I want you to care for my child because you have been the presumed father
Yeah.
in this role for this period of time. And there's the cause of action right there. She's absolutely correct. And the county can do it sometimes without her doing that. Remember, if she's going on the county is always looking to recoup their money back from.
Somebody's got to pay that
Okay,
money back.
somebody gonna pay. So presume daddy or presume mama. This is straight folks, gay folks, all, as David Chappelle said, the whole alphabet, folks, everybody. So you
Yeah.
really need to look at that, especially with when you have children, and you can't contract that away, right?
Right.
Because the courts always look for the best interest of the child. That's the standard. And so you cannot contract away the best interest for a minor. So I think people really need to think about that when they have children. You know,
Yeah.
am I connecting with this person? And at some point, if need be, can I be responsible for them? Because
That
that's
is
a possibility.
that's powerful because people don't think about this kind of stuff, Tony.
No, but you know what people think about relationships, and this is just because I'm old and salty and been through marriages and engagements and everything. I was telling my best friend, who just is 60 and just moved in with her first person at 60, and you know, just talking to her and the realization of, oh my God, you know, junk's all over the place. I got to do this. He has the expectation, all of that. And I said to her, it's more than brunching and waking up doing the New York Times puzzle. That's what
Right.
people think we're living together really is. We're going to
Yeah.
brunch. We're going to have champagne. We're going to sit in bed. We're going to watch movies and we're going to do the New York Times. But that's 1/16 of it.
Yeah.
But the reality is, it's a whole lot more than that.
And these are the things that people have to start talking about. In addition to the interviews, we're also going to do seminar discussions
Nice.
where we can give people real information like this. These are the things that people have to start talking about because number one, marriage in America is in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage in our community is devastated.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is that we are still falling in love. We just do the non traditional stuff. And
Absolutely.
that means that, like you said, we got to start contracting whatever we can
Mm-hmm.
and we have to start making plans. Because, yeah, you can still get, as the scenario you just laid out, you can still get got at the end of a relationship that doesn't have to be marriage. Being a presumed father, who would expect that
Who
if you
would
don't know?
expect that? And ladies, let me tell you another thing. If you think you keeping that engagement ring,
Ah,
get ready for when he call you to court and you gonna have to give it back.
mm-hmm.
Because that is a token of a promise to contract. When
Yes.
you're not contracting anymore, you have no meeting of the minds, you have no, exchange. That ring goes back. I
Yes.
had a good friend and I tried to tell her, and she was arguing all day long. She gonna keep that 4 carat ring and whoop de whoop until she got the summons.
Ah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you gonna end that 4 carat ring, gonna go to court. You broke off the engagement. Give that man his stuff back. And there's so much now case law for that. So, I mean, I guess the point that I'm trying to bring up is we have got to get informed.
Yes.
And one thing we do is we tell each other all this crap that we see on social media like it's really the law
Or
or it's
TV
really
shows.
the truth, or TV shows like we that really is going to happen, and that's not. And I tell people when you have children or I work in a business context. So I always tell my clients Google people. Google people, do some due diligence on people. And
Yeah.
especially if you're sharing bodily fluids, know who you're going to be with. Know this
Yep.
person's credit history. Know this person, you know, has he ever done or she done shady crap, concealment, fraud, all of that shows you that's a red flag in terms of who this person is.
That's right.
So you're going to have to really think outside of the love bubble realm and really think in the I want to have a successful life with this person or a successful time with this person. What does that look like? And what do I need to do still so we both don't take a L after it? You know what I mean?
That's right.
I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work out. In my other relationships, I left because I did not feel that I was giving them the best of me in my last engagement. That was damn sure. And that I wanted something different. I grew and I changed. And unfortunately, this person wasn't along on the ride with me. We were all cool, but I didn't check myself. So let me give you my real life example. I thought I haven't done anything. We haven't commingled. What we decided to do was we looked at the bills. I paid my half. He paid his half. I
Yeah.
forgot when we were buying a house together that we set up an account, and that's what we use as an escrow account, right? A neutral escrow account for both of us so we can do all of that. I totally forgot $13,000 at the end of our relationship was in this account. And so I got an overdraft notice. I've never overdraft in my life. So I was like, I don't even know this account. When I went to the bank and I found out, oh my God, this is our old escrow account for my ex fiance. And I couldn't believe he took the money out without telling me. Now, this is a person who's uber successful, uber smart, uber, I thought would do the right thing, but uber, I got played. And
Yeah.
my point is that it happens to all of us. You have to learn from it. I am now in this relationship, poor boy, so very mindful of it. I don't mix assets. If we're going to do something jointly, we both bring our stuff. And it has nothing to do with I don't love and don't trust him. I love me more.
That's right.
That's
There you
it.
go. There you go. That's powerful. And again, this is all good stuff. One of the last questions I'm going to ask, and then you can add anything if you want. And I know we have other stuff to talk about, so we can part two
Okay.
this discussion. But the last thing I want to ask, we were talking before, and you recommend as an attorney, you recommend cohabitating above marriage.
I'm so shady. Yes, I do.
That's
Because I don't think people understand that when you are married, you are financially, contractually responsible. And you have to look in the state that you're in for community property laws, but you are responsible for that. Okay, so let's say, and the government doesn't care if you're married filing separately. If the married part of that half is not paying the taxes, you're going to have to pay taxes for that half of the community. And so it is, everybody talks about separate property. Yeah, it is separate property before the marriage, gifts, inheritance, separate property. But if the community funds are being used to support that separate property, the property, let's say if you have a house that your mom gave you, but now you're using the community, we'll go back to your example, Daryl. She want to be at home and she don't want to work. So it's really his funds are being used for that separate property to maintain it. He's going to get some money back for his part of maintaining your separate property because it was community funds that are, maintaining the separate property. So when you get into a marriage, that's when is woo, you really got to see what this person is doing financially, because you're going to be stuck with bills, credit, taxes, just because he left. And as black folks, we always got, he's gone, but we're not technically divorced. Now in California, you look at the date of separation with the intent not to return, but that depends on your state. You don't want to be on the hook financially. And so you don't have those kind of problems when you're not
when you're
married.
not married. Yeah.
As long as you're not paying, getting a car in somebody's name or a credit card in somebody's name, as long as you're separate, and not getting all those things that I talked about, you're pretty cool and you don't have all those issues. But when you're married, you're locked into those bills. And I've been there too. Woo, I've been there too. Marriage one, been there too.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, and that's different for us to hear, but I think it's very practical because, especially if you have assets, the other person may not.
Right.
You want to protect yourself. Quite frankly, as I've gotten older, I still want to be married, but more importantly, I want to be protected. I mean, I have a kid, and so everything that I'm building, I want that to impact his life, particularly if I have
Absolutely.
another kid. But I don't want someone who just walks in and then 2 years later she walks out to benefit overwhelmingly. That sounds crazy to me.
No, I totally get it. And I always say to people, if you have children or you have those type of assets, get a trust. Get a trust.
Yes.
And make sure that you have everybody in the trust, you have your property. The beauty about a trust instead of a will is while you're alive, you can change shit up.
Yeah.
Okay. The
Yeah.
will is on death. We're reading what it is, right? As opposed to a trust, we can add, we can subtract. And so it gives that flexibility, Gerald, that you talk about. You're allowing yourself, yeah, I want to be married again, but I want to protect my kid and I want to protect my wife. And I may have a house that I want to earmark for my son, but I don't want the wife to have it. And the trust will give you the ability to kind of do what's best for your family.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. So yes, I definitely want to do a part two where we
Okay.
talk about those kinds of instruments: the will, living will, trust, codicil, whatever the hell that
Mhm.
is. Talk about all the things legally that people need to create and protect themselves, whether they're married or cohabitating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, anything I didn't touch on that you think is crucial, or if not, it can wait for part two.
Oh, we could talk about animals.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get in this because I thought this was the craziest crap that I saw.
Okay.
So this is new for me. I am a 70s baby. So, I'm from Compton. We had a Great Dane. It stayed in the yard. You gave him gravy train, but the world is different now. And so
Yeah.
with animals, people are really connected to their animals. So let's talk about the scenario if you're married and if you're not married. So if you're not married and you guys have an animal and you decide to break up, you're going to look at who bought the animal, who was really responsible for bringing the animal to the relationship. And so that's typically separate property.
Yeah.
Not so if you're married. If you're married, it's almost looking at it like it's a child. So
Mm.
you're looking at what's in the best interest of the dog. Who should the dog be with? There's visitation hours. Daryl, can you believe this crap? And I'm
Oh,
not trying to say I'm not an animal person, but when we've got visitation hours, I'm like, okay. But those are the things for you animal lovers out there that you need to think about because we're seeing so many fights in the courts over dogs and cats. And so for your listeners out there that is a part of their family and that's totally cool, but you have to think about too, how are we going to split up the animal? And if we're married, it's the same as the kid. We're looking at the best interest of the dog and we're looking at those animals as if they're a part of our families.
that is crazy.
That's
So,
what this new life is about.
yeah. Well, and so what I think, Tony, is that a lot of people hearing this are probably going to make some different decisions when it comes to marriage versus living together. Because I know for me, I have a lot going on where my assets, my wealth, everything is about to be like 10 and 20 fold. And if it gets there before I have, created an agreement, it'll just be an agreement and not a marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to do what's best for you. I hear shit all the time. I hear it from women. I hear it from my family knows. Don't ask me. My mom was like, I just want to make sure you're happy and you're doing it for you. And I told her, absolutely. But,
Yeah.
you have to do what's best for you. And at this time in my life, in this period of my life, this is what's best for me. And I'm so happy that I'm with a partner who is open enough for that, right? That
That's
some people may have said, you know what, Tony, if we don't get married, I don't want to be with you. And then I would have to really seriously think about that. And that may be okay, it's not works for me and I need to move on. But I'm lucky that I have somebody that is open to that. And I think that's because we have proven ourselves to each other through the years and we're committed. But this is just a route that I've chosen because of my history, of my baggage financially.
yeah, yeah,
I
and it works for you.
sue for spousal support women. Okay. So that's why I'm always with the brothers because I have been there. All my shit got burned from my first husband. He got mad at me, took all my stuff in the front yard in Inglewood and burned it to a pulp. I was waiting to exhale. Okay.
Wow.
I had took all my money from the bank. I had 75 cents in the part. I lived in a flop house in mid Wilshire while I was paying for the house, our house, 3 bedrooms that he was living in with his new woman in Inglewood. So
Woo.
I know how men feel because
Yeah,
I have been there and
yeah,
I refuse to do it anymore. I'm going to be fair with you. My last, long-term engagement didn't work out. We sold the house. I gave him half his money. I even found him an apartment. I found me an apartment. I saw another one. I was like, hey, go. This apartment looks good for you. That's what I think it should be. I don't
yeah.
think anybody should get over on each other. He gave me an engagement ring. I paid him for the engagement ring. I should have given it back, but I paid him for it
Yeah.
because I wanted to make sure that how we entered this relationship is how we left the relationship.
Everybody being whole.
Everybody being whole. And, if we can't do that, then I don't need it. So, yes, I believe in a prenup. I believe in a postnup. I believe in every nup.
You know what? And I think that as things change, because things are changing rapidly, I think that a lot of women are going to have to get used to a man saying, if he's over 40, I don't want a marriage. Let's just live together. Especially for the woman who says, I don't want to work. If you can get a guy who says that's cool, you better believe it's probably going to be temporary.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you're over 40, a woman over 40 who doesn't want to work, sounds to me like you have failed at life.
And I wouldn't want anybody to have that much power over me personally.
That's
You
right.
know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
money gives you freedom. That
Yeah.
that's all it is for me. It gives me choices and freedom.
That's
So
right.
I can decide what I want to do with the money, who I want to pay to take care of activities or where I want to go, all of that. I can't imagine giving that choice to somebody. I That's how I think of it.
It's a lot of power.
It's too much power for me. It's too
Yeah.
much power. You're not going to decide my destiny. You're not going to decide what I can do for that day, if I can do it that day. That's what you're allowing when somebody else is paying the
It's
bill.
paying the bills. Yeah.
And I can't, because the bottom line is, if you get on my nerves, which I did last year, I was so stressed out. I just went on a week's vacation by myself.
Yeah.
And maybe I could have done that if he held the purse strings. I kind of doubt it, but I was able to do that for myself. So, yeah, it's too much power and control for me, and I
Yeah.
just can't do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Well, Tony, I really appreciate your time. Is there
Thank you.
anything, any parting words on
I want everybody to feel encouraged that there's someone for everyone. I truly believe that. I believe you can have multiple soulmates. I don't believe in one. I don't. And I believe that could be your soulmate for this period of time, and then a soulmate for this period of time. But
Sure.
I want everybody to be hopeful. I know we talked about some unsexy, some just practical, some bullshit, but this is the reality of life. But I want people to feel hopeful that love is out there, that in spite of doing the contracts and everything else, you can have a loving, beautiful relationship. I've been blessed with that. I know that exists. And so I want everybody to be like J-Lo. This is why J-Lo is my girl. Because you know why? If it don't work for J-Lo, J-Lo gonna get rid of you, get another man, get rid of you, get another man. She don't care what you say, and she keeps on stepping and she lives her life. Poor Alex Rodriguez didn't even know he was on the way out. You're on your way out, Alex. Bye. But
That's
she
right.
is always hopeful about love. And that's the
Yeah.
way we have to be.
That's
Practical,
right.
but elevated.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's end on that note. Thank you very much, Tony Forge Esquire.
Bye. Have a great one.
All
Take
right,
good
you
care.
too.
Bye
All right,
bye.
take care. Bye.